recording. Umesh, good to start.
That's nice to see you, Umesh.
Thank you. Raghu, shall I begin? It's 7:30.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all my dear friends, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I am Umesh Chavan. I welcome all Toastmasters and the guests to the United Entrepreneur Toastmasters Club. I am your Sergeant at Arm for today's meeting, and my name is, I usually call as innovative thinker, passionate and straightforward Umesh. I would like to begin stating the mission of the club, our club. The mission of our club is to provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The values of Toastmasters. Anyone would like to reiterate the values of Toastmaster?
Integrity.
Yes, absolutely right. RISE is the short, that is respect, integrity, service, and excellence. Let's exhibit our commitment by being attentive in the meeting, and if possible, by keeping our videos on. And please, my apologize, I'm traveling, so in between, I will keep my video off. Before I open the meeting, I would like to reiterate rules to be respected during the meeting. Very simple rules. Please turn off all noise-making devices or put them to silent mode. Are requested to refrain from making any reference to politics, sex, or religion in derogatory manner. The audience is requested to refrain from crosstalk, and you might end up interrupting the speaker. Please mute yourself if you are not speaking. These are the few simple rules. I would like to hand over now this virtual forum to presiding officer. Raghu, can you please help me to whom I need to hand over?
Thank you very much, Umesh.
Yes.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the TMOD 2 of United Entrepreneur Toastmasters. About 97 years back, Ralph C. Spreadley has started this organization. I'm sure he would never guess that this organization would have become a global village, where today we are able to connect from different parts of the world. But all today, we can feel that one point is to learn from each other. That one point where we go beyond the boundaries of religion, reason, the boundaries of borders. And we are all here to just learn. After 97 years, what's so special about United Entrepreneur Toastmasters? Here today, we are to see what is beyond Toastmasters. What you learn from Toastmasters and how you can apply in personal and professional life or in your entrepreneurial journey. How you can do it is what you are going to see the demo of meeting, how we are going to work, how we are going to mentor you in your life or in your professional life by the severe and serious mentorship that we are going to provide as a part of the club. And also how, if you have an idea of a startup or an entrepreneurship, and then how you can venture into that, you are going to see how you are going to evaluate it and how that will help you. With that note, let me pass the control to one of the senior Toastmasters, DTM Gangadhar. He has not just been a Toastmaster, he has professional experience and also a senior entrepreneur now. He has written his own book on customer service, and today he is here to help us to know more about the same thing at the same time, help us to volunteer in this part of the meeting and steer the meeting just like the driver of any plane. With that note, let me pass the control to Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Gangadhar.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all Toastmasters around the globe. Just to start, am I audible and can everybody see me?
You're good, Gangadhar.
Great. Thank you very much. I have been a Toastmaster for now almost 15 years, and I was in the Middle East. I've just come into India, relocated, and having settled down, I thought now I should start into my Toastmastering once again. I took a sabbatical actually. And coming down to India now, I started. And I also write for the newspapers along with publishing my book. And that's when one of the Toastmasters in India said, listen, why don't you become a Toastmaster of the Day with a subject which is so very useful for entrepreneurs? I said, I don't mind. Because in Toastmasters, the word no is not there in the dictionary as I understand. So I said, yes. And the first person to reach out to me was Toastmaster Raghu. He said, why don't you be a Toastmaster for our Hyderabad club? I said, okay. And I think we are meeting on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. My calendar is right. And he said, no, why don't you be a Toastmaster also for the this Universal Entrepreneur Toastmasters club? I said, fine, let's do it. So with that, I landed up as the Toastmaster for this evening. And as an entrepreneur club, I thought, let me share something which I have developed over the years in my experience in the area of service excellence and business development. And this is a theory on service excellence, which can be applied to any industry, irrespective of the size. It can be applied around the globe. If you have a customer, these are the 4 pillars that would be required to ensure that you're delivering a great service to your customers and they'll come back for more repeats or referrals. So with that, I wouldn't want to waste much more time, but just jump into the subject. Okay, so I can share the screen. Am I right, Toastmaster Raghu?
Sure. Yeah.
I've got here different screen
You
options,
should be able
advanced sharing, multiple participants. I don't get a normal sharing, that's what. Okay, I've got something on my screen, let's see. Right, can you see a blank white screen?
Yes.
Great, wonderful. So this is a theory that I had developed, and in the course of it, one of the Toastmasters said, listen, why don't you come and present it to my office, and I think they will benefit from it. And that's when he gave me the idea. He said, get it copyrighted and then come so that we can put it up in our office and share it with your name on that. So I said, okay, if you think it's worth the copyright, then it's going to be worth sharing with other people as well. So usually everything has some foundations upon which it stands. So I thought, what are the 4 pillars that hold service in place? This is just my thoughts on what it was, and I'm sharing it with you. If you feel otherwise, we'll be more than happy to exchange notes now or even later, and it will just be an interesting way of taking it forward. So the pillars of service excellence, in my opinion, it all starts with the attitude of the entrepreneur, the owner, the founder, the employees of the organization, of how they see their customers, how they treat their customers, how they welcome their customers, how they serve their customers, and how they make sure that after a sale, they are still there for the customer. And all this stems from an attitude that I need to take care of my customer and know that one of the most important things It stems from the attitude of a person. And attitude is something that can be very easily recognized by a customer. It doesn't take him more than 2 minutes to say, has he been welcomed into an establishment or not? Has he been welcomed to an office or not? By the way you speak, by the tone of voice, your body language. Even over the phone, it can be done. So I thought attitude is one of the most important things for an organization to be good in their service deliveries. The next most important thing, which I thought, was how well you communicate with your customers. Now, communication with your customers face to face, over the phone, over the internet, answering a complaint, even between your colleagues. The comfort of communication, the comfort of transparency on how you get your message across to the customer. How do you keep your business abreast with what are your developments and keep the customer informed? Often than not, I have seen organizations go overboard with communication and they keep sending you SMS messages and WhatsApp messages at least 10 times in a day. But that's not communication. It's got to give comfort to the customer as well. He shouldn't feel that he's being plagued with information, and that's where many organizations fail. So communication is a very important thing of how you get across your message to the customer in any of these forms, any of these medias. Moving on, the next most important pillar is on-time performance, because a timely act is more important than coming up with a whole lot of excuses and delays. So it's very important to make sure that you make a promise as in communicate and ensure that you keep up to your time and deliver on that. Because any delays are very pleasant for a customer. I always feel delays by itself is not as harmful as how you make the customer feel about the delay. And one of the very key areas where you can avoid delays is in service excellence, what we call as under promise and over deliver. You must have heard of it. And if not, I'll be more than happy to share more on this subject. Because no customer wants to be left waiting. You give a time, meet the time, keep the time, and ensure that you deliver on time to the customer. Then he has trust, he believes you, and then he feels that this is an organization that I can rely on, and they will take care of my business, or they take care of my problems, they'll take care of my requirements. We always feel that attitude, communication, and time are in place. We think we got our act in place, but not necessarily, because these are all more of your individual and personal traits. But one of the most important things which holds the service X in place is process and policies which organizations have when they start their business, how they run their business, and how they perform and keep going in their business. Because you will have a fabulous attitude, you'll have great communication, on-time performance, but if the policy of the organization is stringent that ties you down, it just throws water on all your enthusiasm. On any service excellence possible, because I am getting some information that there's a. Am I audible? Can somebody give me a feedback, please?
Yeah, you are audible, Gangadhar. It's time to move to the
Okay.
next section. Yeah.
Yes. So the process, attitude, communication, and time is what forms the pact. And I have published a book based on that, and I'm going to take probably about 30 seconds moving from here. It's a book inside. There's barely any text. So business book with 202 illustrations. Now, talking of processes, here is a customer, the office. What kind of a process do you have? Do you have a one point of contact, or are you going to different places to have your problems sorted? Attitude. Fast food joint. Are you willing to bend a rule for the customer or take care of this customer? Or are you going to say, sorry, you're 1 minute late. I can't serve you breakfast anymore. How well you communicate to the customer. A gentleman, an old man wants to know if he can buy a laptop just to send and receive information. And the salesman goes explaining all the details about the laptop. He doesn't want to know that. Give the customer what he wants to know. This is where communication comes in: understanding, listening, and then communicating. Meeting appointments, a very simple way of doing it. In many parts of the world, people are very prompt, but in many other parts of the world, they think even 15 minutes late is fine, but it actually is not. So keeping on-time performance is equally important when it comes to deliveries, meeting appointments, whatever it might be. So moving on from here, I may want to introduce the role players we have today who are supporting us with various activities. Before I do that, there's one role player who never gets introduced, and I feel it's criminal when that happens. And this one role player who hardly gets introduced, I take the opportunity to introduce the Sergeant at Arms, who has opened this meeting. And a brief introduction about him. He is an innovative thinker, straightforward and honest, who works as a project manager. I believe my happiness is in helping others the way as I can. Like to learn new things: meditation, playing badminton, and cooking. So can I please see a round of applause for the Sergeant at Arms who had already played his role and opened this meeting. I'm very quickly going to call the grammarian of the day who's going to help us with the role, and he or she is going to explain what they would be doing as a grammarian. So may I please request the grammarian, Madam Toastmaster Sylvie.
Thank you thank you so much for the introduction. Indeed, I will first, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will be indeed your grammarian for the day. And maybe just to highlight just two things. We will have a word of the day, which will be embrace, which means to accept a belief willingly. For example, a grandmother embraced her grandchildren as they walked into the house. So I would encourage all of us as the grammarian of the day to try and use the word of the day as much as we can. And I'll try and take a few notes of the people who are using the word. I would also overall just look at how we're using the language and highlight my observations here and there. But again, also just to highlight, we also would have our idiom of the day, and that will be over the moon. I am very certain that by the end of today's session, everybody will be absolutely over the moon. Thank you so very much, and I will hand it over back to you.
Thank you very much, grammarian Madam Toastmaster Sylvie. I would now like to call upon another person who keeps time, and may I call the timer, Madam Toastmaster Niharika, to explain her role, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gangadhar. I'm really glad to embrace the role of a timer. As a timer, My role would be to keep track of the timings of the meeting. So I would flash green, yellow, and red to indicate the time. For speeches, the time is 5 to 7 minutes, and I would flash a green on reaching 5 and 6 for yellow. And on reaching 7 minutes, I would flag a red color background. So red indicates that it's time up. For evaluations, 2 minutes, I would flash a green card. For 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I would flash a yellow card. And for 3 minutes, I would flash a red card. So evaluations are expected to be maximum for 3 minutes. And for table topics, green card would be flashed at 1 minute and yellow card at 1 minute, 30 seconds and red card at 2 minutes. So the table topics for the meeting are supposed to be for 2 minutes maximum and 1 minute minimum. So the Toastmasters have to speak for at least 1 minute and maximum 2 minutes. I would keep a track of the timings, whatever are taken by the Toastmasters for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Niharika. Just a quick, can you just show one of the cards if you can, or how it's going to be on your background, or it's going to be the card that you're going to be showing us? So speakers, evaluators, elevator speeches, table topics, please pin timer Niharika and keep a watch that.
Just to clear it, the elevation pitch will be 3 to 5 minutes, 3 green, 4 yellow, 5 red, and for the speaker it is 5 to 7 minutes. There will be 30 seconds grace period, and when the pitch is evaluated, the elevation pitch, it will be 1 to 2 minutes. Please note that. Thank you.
Wonderful. This meeting of the Universal Entrepreneur Toastmasters is slightly different from the normal formats that you would see. In the sense, we have here a prepared speech as a demonstration of how prepared speeches work. And we also have the table topics, which is one of the normal activity or this in the agenda of a Toastmasters meeting. And a little bit of a difference between a normal Toastmasters meeting and the Universal Entrepreneurs meeting is the elevator speech or the elevator pitch, where the Toastmaster who has agreed to come on is going to be talking about herself, business, of himself and his business, and how what they're doing, how others can learn from it and probably help them or help each other in the bargain. With that, I would request the evaluator of the project speech to please give the objectives of the speech. May I request the evaluator, Toastmaster Bastian.
Thank you, Gangadhar. For our first speech of the morning, evening, or day, Rajesh will speak about, at least then his speech title, Twists and Turns, and it will be a 5 to 7 minute speech. That is what I have.
Do you want to give the speech objectives? Do you have the speech evaluation sheet, person?
Let me check. All right, I need a moment to download it. All right, the purpose of this speech is for Rajesh to practice being aware of his thoughts and feelings, as well as the impact of his response to others. The purpose is also to share his experience on completing the project. The overall purpose is focused on the positive. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Toastmaster Rajesh is a DTM, passionate Toastmaster for over 18 years. He's worked in the Middle East for a good 30 years. Now he's in the stock market and advisor to companies looking to develop their export business. When I asked him on the theme, I got a very diplomatic answer from him. He says he's willing to hear from the Toastmaster of the day. So you heard it. So please put your hands together for distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Always believe something good is going to happen. I heard this many times when I was a kid from my grandfather, who was the most optimistic man I had ever known. Always believe something good is going to happen. And so it did. For 30 long years, I had a dream life. For the past 30 years, I was staying in a beautiful country called Oman, and also in a place called City of Gold. Do you know that place? Yes, Dubai. The life was a dream one. A challenging corporate job, a 4,500 square feet penthouse, driving a spanking new Lexus RX 350, frequent overseas travel in business class. That was corporate. On the social front, I was the treasurer for Indian Social Club for 15 years. And that gave me an opportunity to hobnob with the visiting dignitaries from different countries and have the front seat view. Well, my grandfather did say, always believe something good is going to happen. But life offers twists and turns. 2020, my company revised the retirement age. We decided to come back to India. Wonderful things were to happen. Imagine the stark contrast. Spotlessly clean beaches, crystal clear water, 8-lane highways, the towering building on Sheikh Zayed Road, Dubai. Well, things did not happen the way I had expected. I was moving to a new city where I had never spent any time in the past. And the contrast was the traffic, the civic sense, the cleanliness. I remembered my grandfather, wonderful things, believe wonderful things will happen. I had a very, very difficult first few days. I thought somebody has jolted me out of my dream. I wish I had the magic lamp of Aladdin. Lo and behold, my dear friend Vimal and Sunita turned out to be better and bigger than Genie of Aladdin lamp, of that magic lamp. They extended that support, that help, and the moral support from behind to help us settle. And this to embrace gave us a new lease of life. Suddenly, my outlook changed, and I started writing this gratitude journal. The wonderful thing that happened one day was Vimal and Sunita took me and my wife Sharda for a long drive in the mountains. Weather in Pune is fantastic, especially in the monsoon. As we were enjoying the green mountains and the waterfalls and smelling the soil, which is fresh with rainwater, and Vimal had put on the radio. We were listening to a catchy, popular duet song, a romantic one. But suddenly, the signal in the radios started crackling. The song slowly died down, and then the magic happened. Vimal actually switched off the radio, and he looked at us and started singing that same song. And we joined in chorus, and we had a hearty laughter. After that, this was a great lesson for me to understand the changing surrounding and making no comparison or complaining about the situation that I have been. This was one part, but what? How will I spend my time productively? Will I miss my tax-free monthly salary transfer to the bank? Well, things were happening. Milan Naik, my dear friend from Dubai days, asked me to become an advisor to develop his auto spare parts export business to the markets that I knew very well. A chance call to Milind Patwardhan, my ex-colleague, connected me to Toastmasters for Pune entrepreneurs. And my interest in stock market allowed me to spend time in learning the technicals and the charts. Well, wonderful things were happening. Twists and turns are our life. I today thank Vimal, Sunita, Milind, and Milan for giving me that kind of support, help to forget the difficult and traumatic and tough times that I had in transiting my home residence. Believe me, if only we are able to adapt, adjust, and accommodate the changing circumstances, my grandfather's words would be true for you as well. And they are, always believe something wonderful is going to happen. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for that wonderful speech. I think we will hear more about it from Toastmaster Sebastian when he's going ahead with the evaluations. Well, back to the theme, I was wondering if service as a pact is only useful in businesses. And I said, no. The pact can also work even in Toastmasters. Because you're required to have the right attitude to put your, say, I will take up this role, or to say a role which could be a Saturday Times, timer, or whatever it must be, and from the earlier manuals to take up a leadership role. So you all require an attitude of that you develop as you join Toastmasters. You need to communicate. That's the base of everything in Toastmasters. In fact, somebody asked me earlier today, why did you ask for the gender of the the role players? I personally feel it's important to ask rather than be an embarrassment. You're on a global platform today. There are so many names that might sound unisex. It might probably be incorrect to call a gentleman as a Madam Toastmaster or vice versa. So why have the ambiguity? Might as well ask what's your gender so that you address them in the right manner. So you learn to communicate with people, learn to deliver your speeches, how you should do it, the body language, tone of voice, all that becomes part of communication as you keep learning. Moving on, we all know the importance of time when it comes to Toastmasters. So I will not talk more on that one subject because I know Toastmasters are sticky about time. And if you're looking at process and policies in organizations, I think Toastmasters, if you're and you need to prepare. You need to draft, you need to edit, you need to practice, and then you deliver a satisfactory or what you feel is a good speech. So you do have the pact playing even in a Toastmasters organization. If you really go and put these 4 pillars into it and see if you can, how you can use them in becoming better Toastmasters. Now, before we move on, I want to tell, if anybody has any questions, you're more than free to ask and direct it to as a chat one-on-one to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Raghu, and time permitting, we might just take a couple of them and see if I can answer any of the queries that you might have on service is a pact or how Toastmasters pact can help you in Toastmasters. All right, now we're going to be moving on from here. And sorry. The next item that's slotted in today's agenda is the table topics. For the benefit of guests, table topics is basically impromptu speaking. It's nothing to get frightened or deterred about. It's like asking, what's your name? What do you do? How are you, kind of a stuff? What's the weather like in your country? It's as simple as that. So don't get flustered with that. And to take this table topics ahead, we have a Toastmaster who has been, his name is Toastmaster Tosin Olorunleke. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Toastmaster Tosin.
Good attempt.
Thank you. Occupation is procurement engineer. His club role, he's a VPE at Oil City Speakers Club.
DTM Gangadhar,
And
can you please?
He's a podcaster and he has the Obani show. Hello?
Can you please stop sharing, Gangadhar? Yeah.
I had already done that.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Thanks for pointing it out to me. I thought I'd already paused my sharing. Okay. Yeah, the Obani show is a podcast. His podcast, hobbies of football, TV, traveling. His favorite quote is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're probably right. When I asked him on the team, he said, service is definitely a pact. When you commit to service, there are always rewards and benefits. All we have to do is to serve, and the other part of the pact, which add value to us, inevitably gets fulfilled. Thank the Holy Lord, I spoke about pact before I could introduce Toastmaster Tosin, because he spoke the same language as I did. Please put your hands together to welcome our table topics master, Toastmaster Tosin.
Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be your table topics master today. I think the Toastmaster of the day has done the table topic segment in a good introduction, so to speak. Today, I have a couple of questions for you, and this section is open to everyone in the call right now. I have 8 questions, so I would love to see people actually embrace the opportunity to participate in this segment. Like I said, I have 8 questions and it is up to you to volunteer. However, if you do not volunteer, I think I have the right to call people to answer questions. I believe because of the time allocated for this segment, we have just about 4 slots. So if you want to participate, make sure you're one of those 4. You can indicate by unmuting yourself and saying you want to, or simply by raising your hand using one of the reactions that the Zoom application offers. I await volunteers. Thank you.
Tosin, I would like to go if no one is nominating.
All right. Toastmaster Umesh, it's nice to have you again. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So we have 8 questions here. Which of them would you like? Numbers 1 to 8.
My lucky is 8.
Ah, number 8. All right, Toastmaster Umesh. Tell us, what is one service you think should always be offered free of charge? What is one service you think should always be offered free of charge?
Just before I start, I wanted to see the timer cards. Yes, I'm able to see now timer.
All right. Should I repeat the question?
No. Kindness. Don't you think so? Kindness is a one service that you should offer free of charge. And I believe I will like to offer kindness, an act of gratitude, free of charge. As I said in my introduction, my happiness is in helping others the way I can. It's not necessary that you have to only help by giving money. You can give your quality time. You can give your positive thoughts. You can give a time and take out the person from the negative situation. It is not necessary. And you can give whatever you have, at least 1 ounce of your handful you can give. I always believe giving is better than taking. And once we give in a service of kindness, it returns in multiples in different ways. So I request all the audience, try at least once on my request, do any single kind of kindness act, whether it is you can donate, whether you can do a good conversation, positive thoughts, or whatever you can as per your power, and see that will return to you at the right moment when you really required in a multiples. So, Tosin, the one act which I would like to do, that is act of kindness, that is without service. And definitely, I know many of us always think that I wanted to do this, but we don't take step. Don't forget, it might be a small help as per you, but you, to whom you are helping, that might be a big help for him, or might be the world for him. So I would like to suggest only one story. I was going through my bike this pandemic, and on the bus stop, I found one person and he was hungry. And in my bag, there was a one biscuit, and I gave him, and he asked for the some money to travel back to his hometown. That time I was not having money. We use pay ATM. I just offered in 50 rupees, and while speaking, I just stopped one person as I said, "Can you please give cash?" Immediately, he has given a cash and he has given 150 rupees for his bus ticket. And I have done the pay ATM. But that person said, because of you, I am getting opportunity to do the act of kindness. So I will not ask you to transfer it to my pay ATM. So one act which I would like to do is act of kindness without charge. Over to you, Tosin.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Umesh. Your wonderful smile totally has me believing that kindness is something you would love to offer, a service you'd love to offer free of charge. I still we have another volunteer already, Tom, Toastmaster Tom. So how are you doing, Tom?
I'm very well,
From
thank
Rwanda.
you.
All right, thank you for joining us today. We have 8 questions. Number 8 has been taken already. Which would you like?
Number 5.
Number 5. Number 5. If you were stranded on an island and could choose just one person or thing to keep you company, who or what would it be? If you were stranded on an island and could choose just one person or one thing to keep you company, who or what would it be?
Thank you very much, Table Topics Master. If I was stranded in an island, I would choose to have my wife with me. The reason why I would choose to have my wife with me is that I would be a complete human being at that time, because we are told that our spouses are our better halves, and when we don't have them, it means that we are only half. So if my wife was with me, I would be complete. I would be spiritually active. I would be emotionally be okay. I would physically be fine. I would be well fed. if my wife was with me. The other reason why I would want my wife to be with me is because she's my she has my memory, she has everything, so she'll be able to tell me things that make me feel comfortable, and I would not feel that I'm losing anything. I would always feel at home in the remote island. If my wife was with me, I would feel very much at home with my wife. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tom. That was a beautiful answer. In summary, your wife is home. And regardless of where you are, so long as you are with your wife, you feel at home. Thank you. Our next volunteer, Nigel. Hello, Nigel.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. So we have 8 questions. Questions 5 and 8 have been taken.
Okay, I will go with number 1.
Number 1. Do you agree that service is a path to happiness, and why? Do you agree that service is a path to happiness, and why?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. Before I begin, just let me pen. Okay, I got the timer. Have you ever watched a kid take an object, a toy, and give it to someone else? And have you ever watched them go run and want to take the toy back? What do you think, Toastmasters and guests, actually initiates that specific action from a child? In my opinion, service to the others, service to people is something that all of us are ingrained with. And that in service of other people, we find happiness. And that is something that is not it is not something that you experience only as you grow older. It is also something that is experienced as a child. Kids are the best example of where you will see this kind of behavior that is present. But as we grow older, sometimes we have various animosities or various grudges that come up. And those things help prevent us from seeing the nuances in human behavior. And we tend to stay away from service of people. But the more we come to our core of who we are as human beings, we begin to realize that it is through service that we can find real happiness. And therefore, Toastmaster of the Day, Table Topic Master, I believe that we can find ourselves only through service of other people. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Nigel. That was an apt reminder. We need to return to the core of ourselves and remember that we find ourselves and our happiness through service to others. Thank you very much. Our next volunteer, Colonel Taron. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Pleasure to be here, Toastmaster Toshin.
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for volunteering. So we have 8 questions. Questions 8, questions 5, and question 1 have been taken. Which would you like?
7.
Number 7. Tell us, what is something you find absolutely fascinating till date? What is something you find absolutely fascinating till date?
Thank you, Toastmaster Toshin, fellow Toastmasters and guests. What I find fascinating, totally fascinating, is humans. I find that I have been dealing with people for pretty long, been in the forces for almost 3 decades, and the most invigorating experience that I ever had was with my soldiers, with people who were to my left and to my right. We are all humans. We are looking for that human bonding and human connect. Today, we are a global community. So if we are going to be something different, how are we going to be? Humans connect with animals well, they domesticate them, But when it comes to connecting with fellow humans, we have a lot of problems. I find that the only thing that appreciates in our lives is the human connect. Machinery deteriorates, buildings go bad, furnitures, they depreciate. The only thing that appreciates and the only asset that appreciates is people. And people are synonymous with humans. When I connect with humans, I feel over the moon. And it is these humans whom I embrace so willingly because we look at each other, we connect instantly. We just are waiting for the right person, the right moment, and then we find that yes, voila, here I meet Toshin, here I meet Raghu, and these are wonderful people. How can I not connect with them, not live with them? I'm done speaking. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much. I thought that was wonderful. I agree with you. Humans are fascinating. And no matter how much time you spend with them, they continue to fascinate. Thank you very much. We have now had 4 volunteers. I can see some extra hands, but I have to apologize. We have run out of time. I am so sorry. Thank you so much for volunteering nonetheless. And thank you to everyone who spoke today. We had 4 volunteers. The first was Umesh, who spoke to us about kindness being the service he thinks should be offered free of charge. We also had Tom, who said his wife is the person who he would like to accompany him to an island. And we had Nigel. Nigel also told us that he agreed that service is actually a path to happiness. And finally, we just had Turan. Did I pronounce that rightly?
Tarun.
Thank you. He just spoke to us about something he finds completely fascinating, and that is humans. Thank you very much for participating, everyone. Mr. TMOD, the podium is yours.
Thank you very much. Table topic master Tosin. I have never seen so many hands coming up for table topics. And it's really a pleasure to see so many hands coming, and then we have a shortage of time and we can't go ahead and call everybody in. This only tells you that we are into the second demo meeting of the Universal Toastmasters Club. So please attend the future meetings and maybe even join, and you will get the opportunity to be in table topics. So it's a wonderful platform, and as we proceed, you will realize that. Before I move on, the reason I asked for the gender, that there's also the thing like, how do you pronounce a name? We are in a universal global platform today. So many times what happens is we have some problems in pronouncing certain names, which might be very easy because you're from the region, and would be the most difficult thing because you're not from the region. So somebody asked me, how do you pronounce my name? I said, I'll do it later during the meeting. Well, if you break my name into 2 parts, Gangaa hyphen Dhar. So you have Ganga Dhar. So you make it Ganga Dhar, and you keep repeating that 4 times, and it's very easy. And that's the beauty of Universal Toastmasters Club, and one of the reasons why I opted to be the Toastmaster of the day, because you get to meet and you get to really exchange diverse thoughts. All right, moving on from here, we have, as I told you, a different format. We had the flavor of a prepared speech. We moved on to table topics. Now it's a little bit a twist in the Universal Toastmasters Entrepreneurs Club, where we have the elevator pitch. And today, to give the elevator speech, the elevator pitch, we have a Toastmaster. He's a member of 3 clubs: Mata Baruku Bilingual Toastmasters Club, Matandao Toastmasters Club, and Ruraka Toastmasters Club. Apologies if I have not pronounced it correctly. He has completed 2 parts as dynamic leadership and motivational strategies. And he's on his 3rd, which is presentation mastery. And this Toastmaster hails from Kenya. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Ali Makori.
Ali, do you want to quickly check your audio video? Are you able to see the timer cards?
Oh, yes. Let me pin the timer.
Niharika?
Yes, I see the time. I see the time. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Just reiterating, the timing is 3 to 5 minutes, 3 green, 4 yellow, 5 red. And then you have grace period of 30 seconds. Thank you.
The largest tree on earth is the giant sequoia. In fact, one of the most massive of them is called the general shaman. Yes, a tree that has been granted a name. And with good reason. It is massive. 1.9 million kilograms. It rises to the heavens to a height of 83 plus meters. Its girth is a whopping 11 meters. That means that it will take about 3 men, full grown, to hold its base. And it continues with a huge trunk way up, even about 50 meters off the ground. It still has got over 4 meters of girth, and yet it comes from a seed that is the size of a pinhead. Yes, you heard me right, a pinhead. Analogous to that is any investment that you make in Africa. It is akin to planting the seed of a giant sequoia and maybe more. Why do I say this? Have you ever looked at Africa? It's a huge continent. You can throw in India. Yes, that's a continent. You can throw in China and the United States of America and the entire Eastern Europe, and you'll still have space to spare. It is the time for the African Renaissance. And today, as we speak, there is a reawakening in Africa. There are 600 million strong youth in Africa. And the number is rising. That is below the age of 25. We have 60% of the world's arable land. And as you know, the world population is increasing, and the appetite to feed this population will not shrink. It will continue waxing greater still. This is the continent that I am inviting 3 of you to come and invest in with me. Seize the moment. Let us plant the seed of the giant sequoia. And our company is Rise Africa Bureau. We're going to indulge in serious consultancies that will bring in players in the infrastructure space and agriculture. Let me turn that on its head. In agriculture first, and then in infrastructure. Why? We have talked about the arable land in Africa, and a lot of it is underutilized. Can you imagine? With very fast growing economies, East Africa contributes, pandemic aside, 7 annual growth. North Africa, 4% annual growth. The rest of Africa, about 3% annual growth. And therefore, I am guaranteeing you that within 5 years, we will not only have recouped our investment, but we will be seeing the giant sequoia rise, and we will be multiplying our wealth at least tenfold. And all I want as a consultancy, we are not capital intensive, we are going to invest only $20,000 to set up costs, and we'll leverage the payouts from our clients in agriculture and in infrastructure for operating expenses beyond the 3 months. That is why I'm saying seize the moment. Let us plant the seed of the giant sequoia. 3 of you. And all this 20,000 is going to be split between the setup costs, office and takeoff, as well as miscellaneous expenses. Do I have your ear? Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. That was a fabulous elevator and a sales speech on Africa. Are there any 3 takers for Toastmaster Ali's proposal? And moving on from there, we move to the evaluation section. And the first evaluation is going to be for the prepared speech that is delivered by Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh. And to do this evaluation, we have a Toastmaster who's originally from Germany and works for a 3D printer company for dentists, where he helps bring new design services to the market. He aspires to be an entrepreneur and motivating leader. He has practiced leadership at Toastmasters as club president, area director, and now is a division director for Division A, District 101. Please put your hands together to welcome the evaluator, Toastmaster Bastian Remo.
Thank you, Gangadhar. Rajesh, thank you for your wonderful speech. You really embraced the topic of your speech and the objective, focus on the positive, and to me, your speech went over the moon. Let me start by giving you a few positive things that you did really, really well. Your body language was on the point, and the fact that you had your camera at a wider angle, a little bit further away, allowed you to stand up and really show what you were doing with your hands and how you were moving your body, which helped us understand what you were doing. A small suggestion on that topic is that at times your head was cutting off just a little bit, and it could help to adjust your camera upwards just a little bit so that we can see your head at all times. You mentioned a few friends that helped you during your story, and while we heard their names, it would have been great to learn just a little bit more about them to relate a tad better. You spoke very clear and well articulated. You used great vocal variety, which helped convey the message of your speech, and you used eye contact with the camera, which is still not a matter of course to many people who participate in online meetings. Well done. Your audience was very engaged throughout the speech, and I was observing the people and their attires. You got nods, you got smiles as you were speaking, which is always a great sign that the audience is liking what they're hearing and seeing. One small suggestion on that would be to just try and engage the audience even more, for example, with a rhetoric question or with some humor, making a joke or pun. The speech content of your speech was also very relevant and again on point for the objective of your speech, with expecting to always have something good happen to you. And the fact that you brought in your personal story helped underline this even more. Now, a small challenge would also be to perhaps try and adjust your microphone settings just a little bit. Because you used very wide vocal variety, there was times when the microphone cracked a little bit, which unfortunately made it hard to understand for just a moment. So I invite you to work on the tech setup. Your speech was on point, and I'm looking forward to hearing more. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sebastian. We now move on to the evaluations.
Sorry to interrupt, Toastmaster of the day.
Elevator pitch.
Can we have, just before going to that, can everybody keep your video on? Just want to take a picture before.
Yeah, please put on your videos. I might still give you some time, and we move on to the next evaluation. For those of them who have gone to the kitchen or somewhere else to get some cup of coffee or have gone away from their monitors. I want to see all the screens on, please. That's so nice. I'm slowly seeing them coming on one after the other. If I don't see them all on, I probably just have to move on to the evaluation and then wait for the screens to come on. May I invite Nigel, Giri, Immaculate Akilo, Pranati, Antojon, Adiba, Harish, Mariam, Bhavini. Please put your cameras on. Okay, as we move on from here, we have the evaluation for the elevator pitch and the speech. And this is done in a very different format where we have 3 evaluators. And the first of the evaluators is a Toastmaster from California Bay Area. He is with NVIDIA for more than 10 years and a passionate entrepreneur. He's working on his MBA and would like to advance in public speaking. May I request all to put your hands together and invite Toastmaster Nagaraj.
Thank you, Gangadhar. It was, thank you, Ali, for such a nice, wonderful elevator speech. I really liked, I'm an outdoor person. I really liked your analogy of how this big sequoia tree named after a general and how you relate with that tree growing so big from this small peanut, and how you mentioned big things happening from this small little thing over the years, and how we can invest in Africa right now to reap the benefits in the future in agriculture and infrastructure domain. One thing I noticed, you had very good gestures, hand movement, body language, eye contact. I really liked that. Coming to a few things, I thought we can be improved. It was well done, but maybe there's scope for improvement. As in, the core message was a little at the end of your meeting. I was trying to get to the core message. Maybe shorten the initial portion of your storytelling so that you can add your core message to the initial portion as well. And when you came to the invest in Africa part of it, I was looking for what is the value proposition as a customer I'm trying to get out of it. If you can describe what customer base, what they will be doing, what you will be doing with the money or investment, and how does the time horizon look like? What is the scope of this business? How will it impact the Africa as a country or continent? And where is which country inside Africa the reach will be? All that details, I think that will be helpful. I know it's very early in the stage, but if you have some projection or roadmap, a few sentences in your presentation, that will be very good. And in general, on the whole, I really liked the storytelling approach, and your getting the bigger thing happening with the small thing approach. That story blended well with the investment seed we can reap sow right now to reap benefits years down the line. Thank you very much, Ali, for the nice speech.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nagaraj. We move on to the second evaluator of the elevator pitch speech. He is a business consultant for technology-related SMEs and startups, helping them with business development and building remote teams for startups. In his own words, entrepreneurial founders entrust me to drive forward their business by analyzing and strategizing business operations. They do so because I bring to the table my experience in team management, sales, business development, and operations across technology products, and also because I remain an avid learner and student in the process. May I request all to put your hands together and welcome pitch evaluator, Toastmaster Anto John.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gangadhar. I just want to quickly check, am I audible and are you able to see me?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So let's move on into Ali's pitch evaluation. So rightly put by my previous evaluator, Ali personifies confidence when he's jumping right on the stage. No investor is going to see you in any other light rather than a confident business person. So I think right from the get-go, you're able to open and grab attention, which is attention is one of the things that are extremely short in today's day and age. I want to first probably talk about some of the areas where I felt that definitely you were talking about Africa, and I could see the immense potential that is there. 600 million youth. You mentioned about the growth rate, and you also talked about what is the ticket size that probably an investor is looking at, 20,000 USD, and what is the indicative returns, 10x. Now, I want to quickly come into some of the areas that I thought could have captured my attention a little more. First, when you started off, I started thinking that probably you were part of, let's say, a government organization, or you were basically representing Africa, because the whole narrative of the initial pitch was talking about how Africa is a great opportunity to invest. You should always, and then you spoke about your company, but talk about your company first. The investors want to hear about your company first, and what is the opportunity your company is going to offer to them. So what's in it for me? Bring that within the first 30 seconds to 1 minute. That's very important. Talk about what the problem is that you identified, what is the solution, and how big is the opportunity, right? That needs to come within the first 1 minute to 30 seconds. Otherwise, if you ask me, my attention is definitely not as strong as it should be. Second is, how are you going to achieve this return for me? 20,000 USD and 10x. So I'm expecting 200,000 USD. What is going to take place? How is your team equipped to achieve this feat, and in what span of time? I think these sort of indicative numbers should be also presented within the scope of this pitch. At the same time, why you? Why your company? There might be other companies in Africa that would probably be able to achieve this. So you need to say, you should mention why you, what's your track record, and why now, right? Why is the opportunity Africa now? You could probably say, American market is saturated. Nobody's making any returns or money. Sequoia is moving to India. Now Sequoia should move to, Sequoia, the investment firm, should move to Africa and choose that as the lucrative spot to invest. But I would tell you, using the macro information along with your company's pitch is an extremely good way to attract international investors. So what I would say is, along with your company's pitch, bring in all these other factors, loop it in, but always ensure that these things are there. And talk a little more about your infrastructure and agricultural endeavors. You've just mentioned this is what's going to happen. How are you going to do it? Deep dive into it. What is your USP? Why do you have a competitive advantage? To sum it all, you're extremely confident, and I'm sure you can grab the attention of the investors. Bring a few more numbers, bring the what's in it for me, and I'm sure investors will flock to you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. Before we move on, putting an agenda together is not a very easy task. And here we thought, let's meet the challenge and add a flavor to the evaluation of the elevator pitch speech, for which we have an evaluator who is not a Toastmaster today, but nevertheless, you never know. When he put his hand up for table topics, I was confident he's going to be a Toastmaster very soon. This Toastmaster is a leadership coach, speaker, and an author. The entrepreneurs today are dealing with similar challenges as faced by the armed forces and the defense services. The lessons learned in the military are more valuable and transferable than ever. A startup is a problem solver, and the entrepreneurial journey is a roller coaster ride of variable dimensions. He helps startups in discovering their infinite mindset for success. May I request everyone to put your hands together and welcome to be Toastmaster, Colonel Tarun Kumar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghu, Toastmaster for the day, Gangadhar. My compliments to you, Toastmaster Ali, for the first thing that I look for in any elevator pitch or any investor pitch is that why you do what you do. And you had my attention right from the word go. I was not only mesmerized by your charisma, probably the confidence that you were bringing onto the stage, but more importantly, I wanted to hear you more. Why I wanted to hear you more was that there was infinite opportunity that you brought with the kind of eye contact you made, the kind of body language that you exhibited, and also the commitment that I could see when we are dealing with entrepreneurs. I, as an investor, I'm looking at that. Are you committed? Are you passionate or not? I could see that oozing out, and my heart goes out for that kind of commitment that you exhibited today. More important than that, you were phenomenal in your voice modulation. Hats off. I think it comes with the territory. I've been to the African continent, and I admire the way you people can connect. And that is something which I saw Toshin doing. I'm not doing anything on him, but you were lucid in your approach. You did a lot of good. My only piece of advice would be, which my fellow evaluators have already covered, is that you took a lot of time. An elevator pitch is something 3 to 5 minutes. You were very lucky. Generally, we talk about 60 seconds to 1 minute, 30 seconds. You are in an elevator with somebody and you have to sell yourself. Selling encompasses that why Tarun should invest with Ali. And if you can sell me that idea, man, I'm game. Here I found that you were running short of time. Probably you ended up selling a bit more on the vision concept. Your vision, your presentation of that vision was awesome. It is this out of the box kind of thinking which comes naturally to people who are looking to invest. And I went over the moon on that because that was something I would love to hear time and again. Another important aspect which I felt was that you had your financials to be packed up a little bit. Any investor who's looking forward to invest in you is looking forward to invest that what is going to be my returns on my investment, which you brought it out, but probably if you could dwell a little bit more, you had that investor in your pocket. He'll embrace you fully. Man, you are a miracle waiting to happen. I'm done speaking.
Tarun, you are a
Thank you very
Toastmaster
much.
in making.
Thank you, Colonel Tarun. Moving on from here, we finished with the evaluations, and now comes the role of the grammarian to see if there has been any errors or in the way we speak, intentionally, inadvertently, or how it would be. We need to forgive because we are from different parts of the globe with different pronunciations and the way of speaking. Nevertheless, it's important that we get certain things right. And to take up this role is a lawyer graduated from the University of Manchester and practiced law with various firms in UK before transitioning to ICTY, where she interned and then worked in the defense teams. She's passionate about social change and justice. She believes nothing worthwhile worked with Growth Africa Foundation in Nairobi for almost 7 years before transitioning to a local NGO. Her take on services, I think this is the heart of everything, especially as a business. Knowing how to deal and treat people means repeat clients and overall business growth. May I please request everyone to put your hands together and welcome grammarian Madam Toastmaster Sylvie.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. And indeed, I tried to follow the session and try and pick a few things here and there. But a disclaimer, I am having a really bad internet connectivity, so I might not have been able to follow the meeting as well as normally I would have. But I think overall, as you said, we're all from different parts of the world, but I think overall there was a really good use of the English language. Just a few key highlights from my end, especially relating to the word of the day. I noticed our timer was one of the first person. And also not to forget Toastmaster Tosin, when you're running the table topics, again, also made quite a good use of our word of the day. Quite interesting as well, Toastmaster Colin, who also day here, I mean there on his session. Toastmaster Eval as well. I noticed Toastmaster Eval, you were unless I'm wrong, I can get a slap on the wrist. But you were the one of the people who used our idiom over the moon. Overall, I would encourage us to, try as much as we can to use our word of the day and our idioms. But again, kudos to everybody. I think we were on top of things when it came to the overall good use of the English language. And also I would conclude with a remark I've picked on one of the speeches from Toastmaster Rajesh, I believe. Always believe something good will happen. And I will certainly embrace that philosophy as we move forward. Thank you very much. And over to you. Apologies, I couldn't do much. My internet is terrible. So I don't even know if you're still following me on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster Sylvie. Yes, I am following. That's the reason I took over as soon as you said. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
May I quickly request once again, all those who have not embraced the camera to please put on their cameras so that the ones who have embraced the camera will be over the moon. And since our timer has been very smart and deft in putting the timings, as and when every role was being handled, and with the permission of the timer, I would not want to go and repeat the same timings all over again because it's already there. So, Madam Toastmaster Niharika, do I have your permission?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Nevertheless, I must tell you that Madam Toastmaster Niharika, who has been the timer, she is from Bangalore, India. She is inspired towards entrepreneurship due to family background, friend circle, and Mr. Sanjeev Banhas, who was a guide in her master's thesis, and he was in charge of the incubator center called TIDES. And he feels that, yes, at the end of the day, matters is what you have done for society and people around. So service is important to keep life meaningful. And having given the timers report and with the people I can see, I would request Toastmaster Raghu to go ahead and take the screenshots or however. And I would also take this opportunity to hand over the screen and the mic back to Toastmaster Raghu. I personally have been over the moon handling this Toastmaster of the Day evening, and I wish to all of you have a wonderful day ahead. Do take care, stay healthy.
Thank you very much, DTM Gangadhar, for being a sport and then embracing us with your presence today, ensuring you took up the topic to be Toastmaster of the Day as soon as I ask you. I think that is the first pillar of the service you have shown. Thank you very much. And I thank each and every role player there to help us, and also the guests who have joined to show us that we are over the moon already. With that note, let me ask you your feedback about the meeting and also your feedback about the club. And do you really see that you can realize your dreams? And is this a place where you think that you can achieve your dreams? Why don't we start with the person who has given us business pitch today, Toastmaster Ali Makori from Kenya. So his name is big. We just shortened it for the meeting just so that we don't mispronounce the name. I myself got my name mispronounced across the world so that I had to do a speech. What's your name? So I didn't want it to happen with our Ali, the friend. Ali, what's your opinion? What's your feedback on the feedback that you have got? Is this something that you see as helpful when you go and give your pitch outside?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Raghu. It is certainly very refreshing to have this kind of setup where you have Toastmasters from all over the world with different perspectives and with different backgrounds and points of view and professions and experiences. I think this is a Toastmasters club with a fantastic potential and future. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Ali. Let me ask the division director from District 101, where this club actually is going to be chartered. Let us ask his feedback. What does he feel about the club? Bastian?
Thank you, Raghu. Well, I got to say this is very impressive, and from all clubs that I've visited so far, this is definitely unique. I have not been in a club that networks this many people that are interested in this topic and are active serial entrepreneurs together in a room and being engaged Toastmasters. I have high hope in this club.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raghu.
Thank you very much. Toastmaster Immaculate, we've been talking for some time and then we know each other for a while. What's your feedback on overall?
Thank you so much, DTM Ragu. I think the meeting was so nice. It had wise counsel from experienced professionals, and I also liked the Toastmaster of the day and also what he gave us on PACT. I think it is very practical and useful. I feel that the meeting was very edifying and I've learned quite a lot and it was time well spent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Immaculate Akolo. And then I wish to see you a part of the club soon. Anne Marie Joseph from Intercontinental Toastmaster, we know each other already. So what is your feedback on the meeting and the overall structure?
This is an exceptional opportunity, and I thank you, Raghu, for extending the invite. I have come across many international clubs. This one is different. It's exceptional for the command of English, the eloquence of the language. So well done. You know, for an international club, that is something that's different. Also, you have an idiom, over the moon. I'm going to steal that. I'm currently calling in from St. Lucia, which is an island in the Caribbean between Barbados and Dominica. So you're all welcome to come over. And I thank you for this opportunity. Excellent.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Let us ask the Toastmaster of the day who has given us the knowledge on service. How does he feel about the club? And I also want to extend this request for him to join the club and also steer the club. What does he feel about it?
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer Raghu. As everybody have already shared their thoughts, I have enjoyed being a Toastmaster. And this is where Toastmasters, because it's an opportunity and it gets you into the spotlight. And when you get onto the spotlight, you perform, and when you perform, you shine. So I would just encourage everybody to join Toastmasters. I used to write, did not know how to speak on my feet. That's the reason I joined Toastmasters. So you write, you can talk on your subject, like I spoke about services of act. So it's going to help each and everyone, I promise. And I was over the moon. I would only tell you one thing, since it's a Universal Entrepreneurs Club, I would definitely love to join. But I would also tell you, since we are an online club, and probably many people must be thinking similar as I do, and we have different exchange rates and stuff, keep the fee that's approachable to all strata of people from around the globe. And you know, that just takes care of that, so that you have more people joining the club and taking part in the Universal Toastmasters Club. And with that, I want to hand this over back to you.
Thank you, DTM Gangadhar, for bringing up the topic on fees. Just let everybody know that the club fee, we are not charging anything extra other than the TI dues. It will be, while chartering, it will be $45 for 6 months, plus the chartering fee, which will be shared across. That will be defined whether it is 20 members or more than that. And from then, from every 6 months, it will be just $45. There's nothing extra for the club dues. Just let you know. Thanks for the question, Gangadhar. And then let us ask my dear friend Kinua, joining from Kigali Executives, Rwanda. I joined their meeting other day and really enjoyed the positive energy there. And thanks for joining.
Thank you so much, DTM Raghu. It's a great pleasure to participate in your meetings. Your meetings happen at a very good time. Your meetings start at 4 p.m. Rwanda time, which is a very convenient time for me on a Saturday. And the topics that you discuss in entrepreneurship are very close to my heart, because I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. So for me, joining your meetings is one great learning experience, and I will always take up the opportunity to come and learn at the feet of your club. Thank you very much. Appreciated, and have a good day.
Thank you, Kinya. Let me ask one of the pitch evaluator and also an entrepreneur and also ex-army, Mr. Colonel Tarun Kumar, for his feedback on the club overall.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghu. I think it was a very liberating moment to interact with so many people across the globe under one umbrella, and at the same time getting to know that communication has no barriers. There is a universal language. Entrepreneurs across the globe, they communicate in a similar manner. It was such a beautiful thing to experience, and I would say that anybody would love to embrace this kind of a community, and probably once they're part of it, most of their mission objectives would be achieved. It's a phenomenal place to be, and I would give my best wishes to each and every one of you who are part of this community, and especially tomorrow is our Independence Day. So I would share my greetings to all my friends across the globe. Now I can call each and every one of you here as my friend, that we are celebrating our independence and the 75th year of our independence, and it's a great feeling. And this was really a liberating movement for me to share this platform with you all. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Tarun. Let's invite our visiting Toastmaster again, Giri Sonti. He's joining us from US, right, Giri?
Hey, good day, everyone. Yeah, this is Saturday morning. Right now, it's about 11:30 a.m. for me. Yeah, it's as I was just typing in the chat, like diverse global experience and a great learning experience. It's like, it's always pleasant to see Toastmasters from around the globe and visitors from around the globe and learn from you all. Meeting was really conducted well. I just had to go away in between a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to joining your club and participating more.
Thank you very much, Giri.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to have you as a member of this chartering club. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Anto.
Yes, Raghu, it's, again, this is my second meeting with the Universal Entrepreneurs Toastmasters Club, and I definitely love the fact that there are people joining from all over the globe. I specifically like, what I like about this, one element that I like about it is the fact that, I think I mentioned it in the last meeting as well, that entrepreneurs get an opportunity to pitch in front of a crowd that is not going to judge you. It's a very welcoming and very supportive environment. Probably if you go and pitch in front of, let's say, a pitching event or things or a scenario like that, maybe you don't get enough feedback. My personal experience is, if you go in front of investors, some investors after the pitch, they'll probably come and they'll tell you, genuine feedback, but especially in terms of delivery and in terms of certain basic elements, I think the Toastmasters format can help you out there. So I think it's definitely a good moment in general, and glad to be part of today's meeting.
Thank you. Looking forward for your continuous support to this venture, Toastmaster Anto. With that, I will ask Toastmaster Niharika, who also played an important role as a timer today. What is her feedback? You already are part of Intercontinental Toastmasters, where you have the diverse members from different parts of the globe. So what do you see in this club that you think that will interest many, and you also?
First of all, as the name suggests, it's entrepreneurial specific group, and meeting so experienced people would be a great experience for me, because I don't have so much of experience. So I did hear like people do pitch for starting their startups, and today I got an opportunity to see one of the pitch. So yeah, it's really a unique experience, especially for youngsters or someone who is looking forward to.
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much. So I touched almost everyone, and then most of the people have left by already, but I'll just adjourn the meeting now.